Once upon a time, nestled between rolling hills and a sparkling river, lay a village that seemed to have been plucked straight out of a storybook. The houses were a cheerful mix of pastel pinks, sky blues, and sunshine yellows. Their slate roofs were dotted with neat rows of chimneys that puffed out lazy plumes of smoke. Life here was peaceful and predictable as the sunrise and sunset, or so it seemed. In truth, this picture-perfect village was hiding a secret, one that lay in the attic of a small house at the end of the high street. Up here, hidden beneath moth-eaten blankets and dusty furniture, was a treasure trove of over 2,000 paintings. These weren't ordinary paintings. No, they were portals to dreams. Each one was a window to another world. Each stroke of paint a fantastical journey. The secret was known only to a handful of villagers, including a young painter named Luca. At 25, Luca was already considered a master painter, not just by villagers, but by those who'd come from distant lands to seek his help. You see, Luca wasn't just a painter, he was a dream weaver. He painted pictures that people would hang above their beds, and when they slept, they would dream of what he painted. A simple peasant woman dreaming of luscious fields, a tired merchant dreaming of bags overflowing with gold, or a lovesick young man dreaming of his beloved. But why did they come to Luca? Because he was the only one who could create such lifelike dreams. Other painters could make dreams, too, dreams that took you to faraway lands, adventures, and exciting escapades. But they were all fake, mere figments of the artist's imagination. They couldn't touch your heart or stir your soul. But Luca was different. His paintings spoke to the deepest desires of the human heart. When you looked into his paintings, you saw not just colors and shapes, but emotions, feelings, and dreams. One evening, as Luca sat painting in his attic, a knock echoed through the room. Startled, he put down his brush and climbed down the ladder. Opening the door, he found a weary traveler standing in the doorway. Her eyes were filled with sadness, and her shoulders slumped as if carrying a heavy burden. "Good evening," Luca greeted her, his voice echoing her dejection. Sensing his concern, the woman stepped inside and explained her woes. "I am tired of traveling," she said, her voice raspy as if unused for many days. "And I am weary of living. I've walked for months, trying to outrun the demons in my head, but they follow me still." She paused, her eyes distant as if seeing ghosts from her past. "Luca, I have forgotten how to dream. I've lost hope. Can you help me?" Touched by her sad tale, Luca knew he had to help. But how? He couldn't offer her money, power, or fame. But he had something more valuable, something he had never given before. Taking her hand, he led her up the ladder to his attic, his heart pounding like a drum. This was his sanctuary, his most prized possessions. And now he was going to show it to someone outside his family for the very first time. As the woman gazed at the paintings, a flicker of recognition sparked in her eyes. Then, as she approached one particular piece, her face broke into a smile. It was a painting of a vast open field. Rolling hills stretched out in the distance, and a gentle breeze rustled through tall grass, stirring the wildflowers that dotted the landscape. Above, the sky was a patchwork quilt of stars, each twinkling like a distant campfire. "This is beautiful," she whispered, her voice catching with emotion. "It reminds me of a dream I had as a child. Dreams were my escape then. Now, all I have is this pain." With a newfound determination, Luca offered her the painting. "Here, hang it above your bed. Close your eyes and dream of the meadow under the star-filled sky. When you wake, you will feel stronger, braver, and ready to face another day." That night, as the woman slept, she dreamed of peace for the first time in years. She ran through the tall grass, feeling the wind tousle her hair and the sun warm her skin. The worries that had clung to her like shadows lifted, replaced by the carefree joy of simply being alive. When she woke, it was as if a weight had been lifted from her shoulders. The road ahead was still long and hard, but she was no longer afraid. With newfound strength, she thanked Luca and continued her journey, carrying with her the memory of a peaceful night's sleep. Word of Luca's paintings spread like wildfire, carried on the winds of curiosity and hope. Soon, his small cottage was a hub of activity. Kings and queens, seeking an edge in battle, came to him. Merchants wanting to expand their trade asked for his help, and lovelorn maidens hoping for a glimpse of their beloved sought his solace. Each person had a different request, a different dream to chase, and each received a unique masterpiece from Luca's brush. To a fearful king, he painted a vision of bravery, a warrior bathed in sunlight, charging into battle with unwavering resolve. To a grieving mother, he painted a portrait of her lost child, not as an angel in the clouds, but as a sparrow taking flight, forever free and eternally loved. To a young girl in love, he painted a secret rendezvous under a blossoming cherry tree, capturing the blush of first love and the promise of forever. His emotions mingling with the paints, imbuing each canvas with a vibrancy that stirred the soul. Yet as the years rolled on, he noticed something amiss. He'd painted dreams for others, hopes, ambitions, fears, and fantasies, but had neglected his own. One day, as he stood gazing at his latest creation, a chilling realization hit him. He'd become a slave to others' desires, a puppet master of their dreams. His paintings were sought after, his services in demand, but he'd lost sight of his own aspirations. The irony was not lost on him. Here he was, the master painter of dreams, yet he was living a nightmare. That night, he decided to change that. He locked himself in his attic and began his greatest masterpiece. It was a painting of a world full of kindness, a world where no one was alone, where everyone was loved, where differences were celebrated and understanding was cherished. As he worked, he poured all his hopes, dreams, and fears into the canvas, his emotions flowing onto the fabric like the finest vintage wine. It took him months to finish, but when he stepped back to admire his work, he knew it was worth it. It was more than just a painting. It was a testament to the beauty of humanity, a celebration of life, and a tribute to the power of dreams. He hung it above his bed, and that night he slept, and he dreamed of a world where kindness was the norm and love was the language spoken by all. Though Luca eventually passed away, his paintings remained, each holding a piece of his heart and soul, each serving as a reminder of the power of dreams. Generations later, people still dreamed through his art, and the world became a little closer to the dream he painted.